May agam-agam pa rin po ang ilang Pilipino kung gaano kabisa at kung ligtas nga ba ang mga bagong tuklas sa bakuna para sa COVID-19, lalo na't may bagong strain ang nasabing sakit. Yan po ang bibigyan linaw ngayon ni PCHRD DOST Executive Director Dr. Jaime Montoya. Magandang umaga po sa inyo, Dr.
Magandang umaga. The COVID-19 crisis triggered scientists to rapidly develop vaccines at an unprecedented scale, compressing into several months a process that usually takes a number of years. Accelerating the development of a vaccine does not mean that we are sacrificing quality, much less its safety and effectiveness. Ensuring that a particular vaccine has undergone rigorous scientific and regulatory processes will strengthen our confidence in vaccines. This is where the crucial role of science will involve. In the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, the benefits of expecting the vaccine development process outweigh the risks. The COVID-19 vaccines are no exception, despite the pressing need for them globally. Adhering to scientific standards ensure that a vaccine is safe and effective for humans and guarantee that the laboratory practice and clinical research conducted follow the highest ethical standards. It is through clinical trials or evaluation of investigational products involving humans that scientists observe and evaluate the safety and efficacy of a vaccine under development. Vaccine pre-licensure requirements involve 3 clinical testing phases. Phase 1 tests if the vaccine is safe for humans. Phase 2 monitors its safety and determines the optimum dose and schedule. Phase 3 trial involves hundreds of thousands of volunteers as it evaluates the efficacy of the vaccine in disease prevention and provides further safety information in a larger population. Post-licensure requirement is still part of the clinical trial, as Phase 4 involves the continuous monitoring of the vaccine even after it has already been licensed for use. Since several COVID-19 vaccines are being developed, the creation of the task group on scientific selection and evaluation is the first stage of the government's vaccine roadmap, which ensures that we choose the best vaccine that is safe and effective for Filipinos. Being the agency for Stage 1, the Department of Science and Technology, or DOST, created an advisory committee called the Vaccine Expert Panel, composed of Filipino scientists and vaccine experts to help evaluate the scientific data on the safety and efficacy of vaccine candidates obtained from clinical trials. Next slide. The data from clinical research must show that the vaccine's benefits outweigh the potential risks for people who will be recommended to receive the vaccine. Only if a vaccine's benefits are found to outweigh the potential risks does the FDA grant a license for the vaccine, allowing it to be used by the public. To ensure the highest scientific and ethical standards, the results obtained from the clinical trials are evaluated by the FDA to assess the safety and effectiveness of each vaccine. The FDA, being the country's regulatory body, serves as the agency to give the final approval and licensing of vaccines. In compliance scientific standards and evaluating and monitoring vaccines do not stop after approval and licensing, as the FDA still regularly monitors vaccination programs, vaccine manufacturing facilities, and even contract research organizations during clinical trials to make sure that they are following strict regulations. The assessment of vaccine efficacy is complex for many diseases, including COVID-19 in general. It is the role of experts, advisory committees, and regulatory bodies to assess the data on efficacy of a particular vaccine, as there are scientific guidelines and recommendations being followed to ensure that the vaccine candidates meet certain qualifications. The vaccines are considered to be safe, be administered in humans based on the safety evaluation studies as part of the clinical trials. Approval from the Philippine FDA is also a necessary requirement prior to administering COVID-19 vaccines. Each vaccine is developed differently from one another in terms of platform used, adjuvants, stabilizers, as well as for the ethnicity, age group, or comorbidities of patients to whom it was clinically studied. As a result, each vaccine is likewise anticipated to elicit different degrees of efficacy and safety. One brand may be used for a particular population, while another vaccine may work better in a different group. The applicability will depend on the preclinical and clinical results of each vaccine, hence the need to carefully evaluate the available data. Depending on the effectiveness of a vaccine in building a person's immunity as determined during the clinical trials, several doses may be needed over a certain period of time. Some vaccines would require a booster dose in addition to the prime dose to help increase the antibodies of a person, thus building a more protective and complete immunity. I would like to assure the public that the best science and the best available evidence is the basis for determining which vaccines will be available to the Filipino people as determined by its safety and efficacy. Thank you very much.
Maraming salamat po, Dr. Jaime Montoya ng DOST